giant cockroach that I just saw. I don't know where it went. Kind of scared. If you ever played Fallout, you know those giant, I think they're called the rad roaches? They kind of look like one of those. It's humongous. But welcome to the point of this video, which is the sign FRS. It's actually in the garage or in the apartment complex. And Blueberry is outside. Look at him. He's so angry and derpy looking. So to make this video quick, long story short, I bought the FRS, wrecked. I took it to a shop, they gave me back the car. I wasn't happy, so I took the car back. And you probably saw that last video of the hidden camera where we dropped off the car. And that's the last thing you guys saw. You guys saw me dropping off the car. And without getting into too much detail, me and the shop ended up in bad terms. I wasn't able to pick this car up myself because of Corona things. And actually a family member did me a solid and picked the car up. And basically the shop was not very nice to my family members. Let's start with this since the trunk is up and I was getting things out of the trunk. So for one, seam sealer, right? So they replaced the whole quarter panel, and then when they put it back together, they seal the seams here, and the first job they did was terrible. A kid with a brush could have done a better job. What they did to fix it is they put tape on top and they painted the tape. That's how that looks. That's an actual shop, and OEM looks really nice. And I think that's what they were trying to do. They're trying to do the square look, and they obviously didn't do a good job. I could be picky and say this gap right here that you see between the tail light and the panel, that's OEM. You can see this one is a lot bigger. Everything else lines up here. It seems a little tighter here, but it's definitely smaller on one end. I also noticed they scratched the car when they were putting the trunk in. Can you see that? Yep. And they had to take off the glass, and actually they didn't put the interior back together very well. At the start of this video, I was gonna be nice. They had, their ups and downs. No, I changed my mind. I'm just gonna tell you how much I don't like some of this stuff, or all of it. I don't know if you can see that, but there's the sealant or the adhesive that goes on the window itself. You can see that they painted that. The original complaint was it looked like crap. They weren't very precise with it. And you can kind of still see it right there. See, there was a run, you can still see it. So they didn't really fix that. Continuing on from the bottom, that's unfinished. See, that's, I'm not sure what they did there. They just put dirt on it. All along here, the camera can focus, they added a strip of tape all along here, and then they painted that. Because I can move the tape there. Like there's a giant piece of tape from here all the way down, and then they painted that by hand. That was their way of fixing this, so I'll put it on the screen. So I wasn't too happy about that. Okay, the lighting is terrible here. There was two major paint lines. One here, which I'll admit, they actually did an okay job. If I wanted to be super picky, I can kind of see where the tape line was by the reflection, but there's no massive color change, right? One was like a more yellow white, and the other one was more of a bright white, and you can tell really, really bad. And you can actually tell the difference pretty easy, but right now, with the crappy lighting in the garage, there's another line here, and that's basically gone. I can be picky and kind of almost feel it. Right here, they didn't sand that little burr right there, but aside from that looks okay. Some of the edging, another complaint I had, the tape line here is terrible. So they went back and touched that up. Doesn't look the greatest. I can kind of still see that it's not perfect. So the tape job and painting over the tape, I'm not a body guy, but that looks sloppy. That looks very unprofessional. I can go on and say how much I hate it. That doesn't look good. Another thing is, mind you, they replaced this quarter panel, and to do that, they had to take this glass off, right? And the second time we got the car back, let me see if I can go on the other side to show you better. I think this is the best way of doing it. There's a dent right here. And it's a pretty aggressive dent. That's the only thing I can see when I walk up to the car. That dent wasn't there before. When we were picking up the car the second time, we brought that dent up. Our concern is that that dent wasn't there. You guys literally had this thing off, and this is like not even an inch from where they had the glass, where they painted. They could have easily put their paint gun here, or their brush. They had a lot of things on the roof. They had an airbag on the roof. They had a bunch of other stuff that they were replacing. I was like, hey, there was no dents on the roof when we drop it off, and they denied it. They're like, no, we didn't do it. No, the car was already like that. And basically, they were really, really unreasonable, and now I got 2 dents there that the car didn't have, and the shop didn't take ownership to it. They just really didn't. They say it wasn't there. We tell them it was, and it becomes our word versus theirs, and it's terrible. It sucks when you pay for something and you have to return the car once, and I thought about leaving the car there. Like, no, this tape job is not acceptable, make it right. I was actually really afraid of them sabotaging the car, because they were getting, essentially they kicked us out. We told them, hey, there's a dent on the roof, and my windshield is now chipped right here. That wasn't there before. That wasn't there when we dropped it off. And the car did have a couple miles more than when I dropped it off. There was a little bit more miles, and maybe they were doing a test drive when they put the quarter panel on, but they weren't taking ownership to this. Like, no, we're not gonna do anymore, right? They're saying that this is good enough work, and that is not good enough. Like, that's tape. You painted tape. I could have done it, but see how, like, wavy it is? There's this is dented up right here, which, you know, you can roll your fenders and that wouldn't be an issue, but when you pay for a service, especially bodywork, there's kind of an expectation for it to be done right. Like, if you pay an electrician to do work for you, you expect it to be in good working order. You don't expect it to be messy or anything. Yeah, I paid him to have the quarter panel replaced and make it look like OEM. That's not OEM, and they were dragging their feet. Especially for the second time around, once they got paid, they took the car back and said they'll fix it, but they were dragging their feet. They weren't making any money on that. They were just trying to make it right, but no. And somebody suggested that I should take them to court. Somebody said, hey, you should take them to court. That's really bad job. They're a crappy shop, and I agree with that. I'm not happy with the work. They treated us pretty poorly. I think most of it will become their word against ours. And I could point at the bad work all I want, but if that's their standard, I mean, I can't really make them look prettier. They're like, oh, we tried. So yeah, I went ahead and I left them a nice little review on Google. Part of me was like, I should tell everybody to go give them a bad review. You know, cars are replaceable, relationships aren't. So for me, I feel more bad how sour the situation turned, how bad they treated my family members when they want to pick this car up. Like, they were doing me a favor, and they were pretty much asking questions like, hey, there's a dent on the roof. Hey, this doesn't look good. Can you fix it? They were super rude about it. So that's what really bugs me the most, not the car. Yes, I'm salty that I paid a lot of money to get this car fixed. Yeah, I was pretty upset, and I really wanted everybody to just attack the shop, you know, send them bad reviews. And in good conscience, I can't say, you guys should go to the website down and give them bad reviews because they did me wrong, which I think they did me wrong. Customer's always right type of thing. If you want to copy and paste the review that I put up, go for it. But the moral of the story is that I will never go to that shop again, and I have the FRS back. You know, it's here and I can do things with it. Actually pretty dark in here. And I think that's what matters the most. It's a car. I still want to fix those dents somehow. 7-8 months of owning this car, I finally was able to drive it, like an actual drive. I drove it for 2.5 hours here, and then the battery died, so I got a new battery, so I still have to put that in. I don't know what's gonna happen to Blueberry because he obviously got kicked out of the garage. I've also been wanting the truck, so I don't know. Everything's up in the air. I'm just glad this car is here, but hopefully it didn't ramble your ear off. I don't know how long this video is actually gonna be. Super dirty toy. I still have to go get plates for it. I still have to put the battery in, but aside from that, it's ready to drive it. But I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.
She said that she wants to take it back, but then she goes and takes it all, telling me to pick up the slack. It's like I'm talking to a wall. All your opinions are a fact, there's only truth in your recalling all your lies.